Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're sort of looking at the E50M and the T62A to compare which of these tanks is going to be stronger after updates 10.3, because now both of these tanks sort of have a similar role, I guess, because of their armor profile as medium tanks. I mean, the T62A got an absolute humongous armor buff in update 10.3. It got a few things taken away, but the main thing is that this tank is now actually good at blocking damage frontally. The lower plate on the T62A is tiny compared to the E50M, so you're going to block shots from other mediums, in my opinion, a little bit more easily. The E50M is going to struggle a little bit more, right? Now, if we compare both tanks, right, let's talk about the mobility because it's a medium tank, so let's get it out of the way. I mean, the E50M has 60 kilometers forward with a power-to-weight ratio of 21.3, right? That is insane, while the T62 only has 55 kilometers forward with an 18.6 power-to-weight ratio. So, in terms of that, just raw numbers, the E50M obviously looks like it's much better. However, the terrain resistance is definitely going for the T62A, and so it's quite hard to judge. I mean, in both scenarios, both tanks are quite mobile, I guess, for the amount of armor they pack. It's just that the E50M looks a little bit better in terms of mobility, just because of that 60 kilometers forward, if you know what I mean. Both of the tanks move backwards at 20, which is not too bad at all. Now, getting that out of the way, now let's talk about the armor profile on both tanks. The T62A has an insane turret, a very good upper hull, while the E50M also has a very strong turret, but of course it has a cupola, which is definitely a weak point. And of course, the E50M also has very good armor. The fact of the matter is, however, that the E50M does have a much bigger lower plate, meaning that you will be absorbing shots more easily compared to the T62A. However, the T62A's armor can easily be overcome by higher penetration guns, while the E50M has a better upper hull, I would say, which is harder to overcome, as I said again, by higher penetration guns. Now, the more interesting thing in this regard is that the E50M has 8 degrees of gun depression, while the T62 only has 7, meaning that you can actually use your turret in a lot more situations in the E50M compared to the T62A. So this is something you should also note. I feel like the E50M is going to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to the gun depression, therefore allowing it to go hull down a little bit more easily, again, in my opinion. Now, if we look at the DPM on both guns, the T62A is going to be winning by a little bit, while the E50M is going to be winning in terms of alpha, again, by a tiny bit. So 10 alpha, is it really going to make a difference? I'm not really sure. While the T62A has less than 100 extra units of DPM. Again, is this really going to be that useful? Probably not. One thing the T62A doesn't have is definitely going to be the ramming ability of the E50M. I mean, seriously, if you go in a clinch situation in the E50M, no other medium or light is going to pen you. At least they're going to struggle to pen you a lot. The T62A's armor actually sort of nullifies once you get close to the enemy, which is something I really dislike. So going into clinch situations in the T62A is definitely going to be a little bit harder and on the worst side, in my opinion. Again, that's just the way I see it, right? Now, if we look at the aim time and dispersion, both tanks are very similar. Aim time is identical, however, the dispersion is better on the E50M. So you have a lot of aspects that are going for the E50M, but the T62 also has its benefits. Again, in my opinion, I would definitely prefer the E50M over the T62A just because of the clinching and the ramming ability. I mean, when you fly in the E50M and you ram into an enemy tank, you take off so much HP. And again, in a clinch situation, it's very hard for other mediums/lights to penetrate you. It's just a fact. And that's why I think the E50M is just going to be a little bit more fun, but the T62A can also be good for other players. I don't know. It really depends on your playstyle, I guess, but I'm quite aggressive, especially in mediums. I like to fly in there and bam, ram into you, use my armor to make sure you don't pen me, and then I'm just going to out-DPM you. So again, tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. Bye-bye.